Hey everyone, welcome to Poplar Prepper. I am super excited for this guest. Many of you already know him. If you haven't already checked him out on his channel, Pinball at Pinball Preparedness. Sir, thank you so much for joining with us. Your experience, I'm excited to pick your brain a little bit and to get into just what's going on with you. So welcome.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, you live stream, you post videos every day. You've become a staple on YouTube, and it's just just being so real. You're just so open with your life, with everything, and yet you have just such a depth of experience and wisdom. And this is just I'm so glad to have you on here and get some people looking at you and listen to what you have to say. Um, I got to start at the beginning. You
All
know,
right.
what got you on YouTube in the first place?
I started doing this about 5 years ago. I've been prepping for what, 16 years now, 15, 16 years, something like that. But about 5 years ago, I'd watch prepper videos and things like that to learn more things, get ideas. Because again, everybody's got to, you learn. Listening to a video is one thing. Actually going out and putting what you learned into practice is something else. Okay. And what I started finding then was every channel I seemed to find was either fear mongering, oh my God, the world's going to end tomorrow, all this sort of crap. Or it was, if you don't buy this right now, you're going to die. And I got sick of the fear mongering and the sales pitches. And I'm like, okay, there needs to be somebody out there who is doing the practical prepping, if you will. It doesn't take a rocket science for somebody to figure out, okay, I need to start buying beans and rice. Okay.
Mhm.
But getting into the more uh, mundane things, about how to grow your own food, how to, uh, you know, store water or whatever, besides, going to the store and buying bottles of water or something like that, how to generate your own power, how to preserve stuff, the practical things that are
Mhm.
action items as opposed to somebody who just wants to hear themselves talk for 12 minutes on a video.
Well, I mean, clearly you're doing something right. What, 60 million views now, 113,000
Something like that.
subscribers, and you put up a live stream, and 1,000 plus people hop on to hear. And the really cool thing I think about your live streams is that so much of it is you answering questions, people asking you practical questions, and you're just sharing what you know with them, and throwing it out to the community when you don't know. And that's, I know a lot of people have really been helped by your channel. Do you get a lot of stories from folks about
Oh,
that, about how
oh
you
yeah. And that's the whole point of this. I, I'm sharing my experience and sharing my knowledge. And you know this as well. I'm just another guy. Okay, this is it. I'm just another prepper. I'm nobody special, and I want to be able to help somebody else do something that they might not know how to do. And you know, every day, I'd say probably 10 to 12 videos a week or whatever is me talking to everybody else and telling them what's on my mind. It's I look at it as a community, a fellowship, a family. Conversation works two ways, and drives everybody nuts if one person's always dominating the conversation. The other person's got something on their mind. So I use the live streams for everybody to say what's on their mind, and it makes it a lot of fun. Because I have no idea where anything's coming from, and it's definitely a brain exercise for me, because somebody may ask a question about, oh, I don't know, growing green peppers, and then the next question is on the future of gold and silver, and the next question is on power generation. And it's not like, well, let me think about this for a minute. It's like you just got to go from here to here to here to, and you just bounce all over, which makes it a lot of fun for me. It's a challenge. And sure, there are things that I don't know. Somebody asked me last night on the live stream about when they should harvest their peanuts. I don't know. I've never grown peanuts. Okay. I'm not going to fake it till I make it. I'm not going to bullshit people and tell them, oh, you do this. If I know, I'll tell you. If I don't, I'll admit it. I don't know everything. Anybody that says they do is a fool. You know, there's always stuff that, you can learn. Is it practical for me? No, I have no intention on ever growing peanuts. So I really don't need to learn about it. But everybody's journey is different. And, in the food example, what I grow is different than what other people grow. I mean, it's a running joke on my channel that I hate okra, right? And so they joke with me, how many okra plants did you plant this year? None, and I don't care. And people could ask me questions and I'll never have an answer. But I grow beets. There's a lot of people that don't like beets. It's okay. And my answer has always been, take the information I give you that's pertains to your situation and use it. The rest of it, ignore. That's it. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying you have to do everything he says. No, take what you need and that's it. Go watch a dozen channels. If somebody's talking about peanuts or okra, go watch them. They know what they're doing. I don't, and I'm not going to try to lie and say I do.
Yeah, and you cover this it's your oldest video was posted in 2019. It was like December, and it's actually back live again. You said you just posted it again. I was watching that, and just you were explaining in it. Well, actually, we'll put that down in the pinned comment down below so that people can check that out. But where you just explain kind of why you're getting on YouTube in the first place. And I just asked you about that, but yeah, you were talking just about how you really want to add to the conversation and provide a real conversation about what it's really like to develop as a person and as a preparedness minded person, and
Right.
get your stocked up and get your survival and all those things. So let me give you a chance to speak to someone who has never been in prepping, never been in preparedness. They haven't done more than go shopping twice a week. What would be some first steps for someone on a fixed budget that you would just kind of recommend to them as first steps?
All right. Before we even get that far, I mean, the first thing everybody's got to remember is, prepping is a journey. It's not a destination. I mean, there's not a single legitimate prepper out there who goes, I'm done. I got everything I need. Don't need anything else. That never happens. Okay. Whether it's your food, whether it's your water, whether it's your skills, God knows what, there's always something more you can do. The next part is understand this is a lifestyle. This isn't a hobby. Okay. It's not like, well, gee, you know what? I don't feel like doing anything this weekend. No, prepping is something that you're going to wind up dedicating time to every day, rain or shine, cold or heat, whatever. There's always something you can do. Doesn't have to be all day. Sure, people got to go to work and everything. But, here it is. It's the end of May. I'm talking about this last night. Got to get out and weed the gardens. Okay. All right. Go spend 15, 20 minutes when you get home from work and weed your garden. It's a lot better than going spending 6 hours on a Saturday because you let it go all week. Storing food. You can't have enough. The thing on food is the day you open that first jar or that first can, the clock starts ticking. You're now getting closer to having none. So you got to figure out a plan where you can replenish whatever you're using. This is where the issue comes in with store-bought stuff. People are like, oh, I'm going to go out and buy myself, 500 cans of ravioli. Okay, first off, how long is it going to be good for? But you're not going to be able to sustain long term off of store-bought stuff, because if there is no store, you can never replenish that. So you have to learn how to replenish stuff on your own. whether that means gardening or raising rabbits or raising chickens or how to hunt or how to fish or things like that. One of the most important things that you got to do that when you start is have a plan. Is okay, and how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Don't come up with your plan and go, okay, my goal is to have 3 years worth of food for everybody in my family in the house. Okay, that's a great long-term goal, but if you only shop every 2 weeks, why isn't your first goal to have a month's worth of food for everybody in the house on top of your going shopping every 2 weeks? Get started. On a budget, this will be the big quantity quality thing. I'd rather have a lesser quality item and be saving for the better quality one than have nothing. And I always use the example of like a pistol. Oh, I want to have a Ruger or a CZ or a Smith & Wesson or a 1911 or something. Okay, good. I agree with you there. Get yourself that $125 high point to start. Why would I waste my money on that? Because if the bad guy comes in your house tomorrow, you got the high point. You've at least got something. You're not going to go to the bad guy. Can you come back in 2 months when I've saved up enough money for my Smith & Wesson? It's start with the little things and work your way up. You can always upgrade. I mean, that's something that you'll find every prepper will tell you is, upgrading stuff. I went out and spent $2,000 on my first AR. Okay, great. I went out and spent $700 on my first AR. And the other $1,300 I used for food, for medical supplies, for all the other stuff. And I had some of everything. The people that come up and go, I've got a gun, I've got everything I need, go out and buy a shovel. That's the second thing you need, because you can dig your own grave now because you'll last a week. That's it. The people that think they're going to go down the street and just take whatever they want, they'll be gone in a week in any sort of SHTF situation.
Now, you served in Army intelligence, so you know what you're talking about here. Just so people, there's a lot of people on YouTube that will tell you stuff that they think they know, but there's some folks that really know more than they even kind of let on that they know of, and I know you're one of them. And that's you've seen a lot of stuff around the world, haven't you?
I've seen a lot of stuff around the world. I've seen a lot of stuff around the country. Not only military life, but civilian life too. And I mean, I've lived the ups and downs. I mean, again, those that watch my channel know I went through a period of being homeless. I mean, to the point of living in my car, living in a shelter. Okay. It's not a situation you want to be in, and you got to get yourself out of it. Nobody's coming to help. That, there's the mantra that every person that wants to be prepared has to understand. Nobody's coming to help you. The government is not. The government will be your enemy. They're going to be the one that you're fighting against, okay? Because they're going to want to put you in FEMA camps, or they're going to be the one blocking the roads off, not allowing you to get to grandma's. You need to have the advanced planning again to know how to maneuver around that situation. I'm not one of these people who's, you get all the keyboard Rambos out there who like, let's just get it on already. Let's just start the shooting war. If you've never seen war, it ain't Call of Duty on your video games, okay, on your PlayStation, where there is no reset button if you got shot. Oh gee, I died, reset, let me start over. No, I can't find one on me. I don't know if anybody else got one, but I can't rejuvenate myself. And you gotta learn from, and this is the big problem with society as a whole. We've got to learn to do things the way our grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents did, because if they didn't do it back then, when there wasn't internet and cell phones and internal combustion engines and all this sort of stuff, if they didn't do it back then, we wouldn't be here. So therefore, for sure what they did worked because they survived. Okay. You know, I'm afraid to can food. Then you better learn how to do it. Okay. Get over your fears, because when it comes down to, and I mean, hell, it could be as early as this weekend. You know, we get the verdict in New York, we could go absolutely crazy. You know, you could have chaos in the streets where you don't want to leave your house, you know, because, oh, I don't know, it looks like Kenosha, Wisconsin, or Chaz Chop or something like that. And you don't want to go anywhere. Now, if you've only got groceries to last in your house until Saturday and the city's gone goofy, what are you eating on Sunday? You know, I've said my how I view this, and again, everything on my channel is my opinion. Okay, and people have done. You're allowed to have different opinions. Okay, I don't have all the answers, but my way of looking at this has always been: plan yourself so you could live on your property and never cross the border, never cross the boundaries. You could never leave your property again. Can you survive? If you can do that, then you could say you've reached a destination. But nobody will ever get that close.
Yeah. All absolutely great stuff. Thanks for just dropping a bunch of those gems along the way. I think folks might have to just rewind that and just watch that again, because you just had so much there. Get out your pen and paper, folks, because it's yeah. I mean, people get on me because I'm always talking about non-lethal stuff, and I have a reticence around firearms, and people kind of like you know. And I did role playing with the military, and let's just say with my paintball gun out there, I accidentally shot some people that I wasn't supposed to shoot, and some of those guys that weren't supposed to shoot me shot me. And you know, when you start realizing that there's a lot that you don't know, and you need to have this humility about you to realize that the world is not as you'd like it to be, but the world is the way it is, and we need to adapt ourselves to the world as it's changing. And I know you talk a lot about kind of the coming storm and warning people about that, but you know, you experienced things that got you into prepping, that got you going, but you suffered a recent setback here, didn't you? You're going to run for Congress, and it now looks like Brandon Herrera is going to be the first YouTuber that actually succeeds in running for Congress, and not you. I don't know how you're going to handle that that blow.
Gee, I'll get over it. Now, fortunately, it was a good blow for me because, you know, I'm in Tennessee, whether or not people know that, and it seems to be where everybody's moving to. Okay, so after the 2020 census, we added a congressional seat because obviously we added population, which also means we had an electoral vote. So it's another one for Trump. But I used to be in District 2, and the congressman in District 2 was a rhino. I mean, Chuck Fleischman is the District 2 congressman. And I mean, he towed a line for Nancy Pelosi all day long, even though he's a Republican. And I'm like, okay, if this comes up, I'm going to run against him. And that was 2022 when we got the redistricting. And so we wound up, where I live, wound up moving from District 2 to District 3 as the new created district. And Tim Burchett, who is my congressman now, is about as much of a patriot as you could. I mean, I wouldn't want to challenge him at all because I wouldn't do a single thing different than what he does. So I'm like, good, you're going to do it. More power to you, you know, but I'm glad somebody got up and did it. And, you know, so we have a voice that truly represents conservatives in my area.
Yeah. Well, that's I was excited about that when you were talking about that. I was like, that'd be really cool having you as a congressman. But
I haven't rolled running out for the state house when either the representative, my local representative, or my local state senator retires. Both of them are getting up in age, let's put it that way. I haven't even ruled out running for county commissioner. So, but I'm a very firm believer in being active in the community at whatever level. I mean, it's,
Mhm.
everybody talks about Trump, Biden, but the more important stuff for everybody is really at the local level, because I guarantee neither Donald Trump nor Joe Biden could find Sharps Chapel, Tennessee on a map. Okay. So, and they certainly don't know my name. Okay. But the people around here, these are the ones that I'm going to have to deal with on a day to day basis in any sort of chaotic situation. So, the more people I know locally, the better I am. Because if I can figure out now who's friend and who's foe, I don't have to figure it out later. Because going back to what we said a second ago, all these keyboard Rambos who are like, let's just get it on already. They have this stupid idea that it's going to be like the Revolutionary War, and you're going to have one side here and one side here, and they're going to shoot at each other across the field. Okay. And whether it turns out that it's conservative versus liberal, whether it turns out it's black versus white, however, whatever the factions are, that goes, it's not like we're all going to be running around in uniforms. Everybody that's a liberal is not going to be wearing blue t-shirts, and the conservatives aren't going to be wearing red t-shirts, and you're going to know, they're going to look just like you. And the infiltration is going to be real easy. So if you know who the patriots are and who the traitors are from the beginning, it's going to make it a lot easier to know who you want to align yourself with when things get rough.
That's your Army intelligence side coming out right there. Yeah. Getting a notepad out and writing down everyone in your community's addresses that have a Biden sign out in front of their house, and writing down a separate list of everyone who has an American flag out there, or political candidates that you do actually kind of agree with. Having that information could be invaluable. So much more than having a boomstick or anything defensive out there. Just knowing who you can trust and who you can't, who's in your camp and who's not in your camp.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do when somebody knocks on your door with their 2 kids in tow and says, I'm hungry, can you help? And, you're going to have all the people with compassion. Oh, I've got to give them food or whatever. And you understand that. But once you do that one time, they're coming back tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. And and they told 2 friends and so on. And the next thing you know, you wake up in the morning and there's 30 people camping out in your front yard going, what time's breakfast? And you don't know if one of those people's out there going, there's an American flag out there. I really want to see a Korean flag out there. Let's, why are we waiting for him to feed us? Let's just take it. It's the joke about these billionaires hiring, ex SEAL Team 6 guys or Special Forces guys or whatever. And they're going, oh, okay, that's my personal security guard, and they're gonna protect me in our compound here. And they never stop and think and go, all those SEAL Team 6 guys or whatever go, what the hell do we need him around for? Done. One less mouth to feed. Food lasts longer. Good. That it's knowing the people in the local area is very important. And I mean, I've lived places. I mean, when we lived out in Vegas, I lived there for a couple of years. I never even met the guy that lived literally next door on my right. Never met him.
Yeah.
The guy just did not want to meet him. So I have no idea what made him tick.
Now, some people may hear what you just said and start thinking that that you don't have a big warm heart, and yet I know for a fact that you've every year you're doing fundraisers for charity, you're donating food banks, and you really do deeply care about people and helping people that are down and out. And it's it's just people don't get that there's a way to do things that's smart.
Yeah.
And a way to do things that may be very dangerous to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to consider what we're in now in good times, sure, there's people that uh, are struggling. I mean, we get it. I mean, every year around Christmas time, and what did we raise? $15,000 last year, I think, and we split it between the food bank, the animal shelter, and the local Toys for Tots type thing. So the kids had Christmas presents, and that's great. And I mean, how many times when harvest comes in, and I mean, just the other day I was out, I had so many extra bell pepper plants. I was running around to my neighbors going, "Hey, you want some bell pepper plants? They're already started. Don't spend $5 a piece at Walmart." And I mean, I was giving them away to neighbors. It's like, okay, go do something. Here, it's for free. And that in good times, that's easy to do. In bad times, again, put yourself on the other side. Put yourself in the person right now, maybe who's getting their food from the food bank. You don't have the stuff to give away, because everything that I give away to somebody else is something I'm taking out of my mouth or my wife's mouth. And like I said, if there's 30 people in my front yard, gee, all of a sudden the food I expected to last me for a month now lasts me for a day. Because you went from one person to 30 people. You got, like you said, you've got to be smart about it. You want to help people, but you don't want to let them control you. You still got to maintain that you're the one that did the work. They get whatever you are willing to give them. It's not the age of entitlement in prepping. Nobody's entitled to eat any of the food out of my gardens except for me. If I give you something, that's one thing, but don't come up to me and say, you need to give me 2 tomatoes. No, I don't.
Yeah. Sometimes the best handout is a job. Sometimes the best relationship that hand up that you can give somebody is to get them involved in your community and have them sharing with you and your friends something that you guys need, whether it's security, whether it's an extra farmhand or whatever, so that they know that you kind of need them too.
Well, and again, like I said about 10 minutes ago, our grandparents, our great grandparents, you can see this on movies or something, where a guy would go and knock on a door somewhere and say, do you need any help? Yeah, I need the fence painted, or I need the hay baled, or whatever, pick something. And they would come in and sit down and get a meal, and that was their pay for the day. There's going to be a lot of people like that, and they're going to say, can I have 2 tomatoes? Yeah, you know what you can do? You can go weed that entire garden and I'll give you 2 tomatoes. That's how it's going to turn out. There's not going to be, the age of entitlement will stop instantly the day everything goes foobar.
Yeah. Well, I have some questions here from different folks. You mind if I pepper you with a couple quick questions here?
Fire away.
All right. First question here is from Duck Smart 1496. And they want me to ask you, do you work for the federal government?
Well, I'm ex-Army intelligence, as you talked before. No, I do not work for the federal government. The funny part is, like I said earlier, we moved here from Nevada, and pull into rural Tennessee with Nevada plates on your car. And for 6 months, all the people around me here thought we were in the witness protection program. That was, when I found that out, it was hilarious. No, I do not work for the federal government.
All right. Well, we got that one settled. It looks like, will you go to the FEMA camps when they set it up?
Yeah, I'll stand on the outside of the fence with wire cutters. That'll be how I'm going. I mean, to release people, but if they try to put me in there, there better be a whole lot of people that are standing in my front yard that better not have dinner plans. You may get me, but there's a lot of people that ain't going home that night.
Yeah. This one's a little more serious. Sunset 6010 asks, even though you're an experienced prepper, do you have any prepping goals left?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's a journey. It's not a destination. I mean, I want to learn more skills. I'd love to learn how to tan hides and things like that. Because that could be a very useful skill. I want to, and my wife and I are always on the lookout for this, to see if we can acquire more land, if we can, where we could feasibly raise pigs or cows or something like that, so we can feed ourselves. I mean, at the beginning, people look at prepping and go, "Oh, this is cheap. Rice and beans don't cost that much. You go out and you spend $20 or whatever, and you go, look, I got 2 5-gallon buckets of food already." And once you get all that done, the rest of the stuff you're trying to get starts getting more and more and more expensive, and all of a sudden you're not adding that much. But skills and real assets are two things that I am always trying to improve on.
This is a question from me. Can you ever have enough fruit trees?
It depends on how much land you have. I mean, and I'll agree with you on fruit trees. You can never have enough garden space too, because I've never heard anybody in the history of the world complain, "Gee, we've got too much food. What are we going to do with it all?" There's always somebody who's going to want some. And I mean, you think about if you have the fruits or vegetables or anything like that, and you've got so much that you can barter with it. It's like I was telling somebody yesterday on the live stream. We've all got that neighbor who bought the new jet ski or took the vacation or bought a new car or whatever, but doesn't have anything put back. And they're going to be the person that comes up and says, "Can I have 2 tomatoes?" "Yeah, give me the keys to your car. Here's your 2 tomatoes." We have no idea the value of the stuff that we have now, what it's going to be to somebody who doesn't have it and can't get it. You look at tomatoes, go, "Oh, it's $4 a pound." Now, how much does a pound of tomatoes? What's the value of a pound of tomatoes when your kids are at home hungry? What would you give for that? And some people say they'd give their life for that. Okay. Now you start to do the correlation. So you're telling me that your life in bad times is worth $4 in good times.
Yeah, in a crisis, and people don't think about this, but in a crisis when people are truly hungry, the day's wage tends to drop to about 2 days' food.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. When in true crisis, a day's wage turns to about 2 days worth of food, because that's how much people will be willing to work for. And it's a different world on the other side of what people call SHTF, when stuff starts hitting the fan and all of that.
I mean, just think of this. How valuable would a safe place to sleep be? What would if you were in Kenosha, Wisconsin, or Chaz Chap, what would you trade for a safe place to sleep? I mean, Chaz Chap, we were hearing about people getting killed, rapes, everything like that. You've got your teenage daughter with you, and you want a safe place to sleep. What are you willing to give up to make sure that your teenage daughter's okay in the morning?
Yeah.
You give about anything.
Well, thanks so much for joining with us, Pinball. It's that you just dropped so many different gems here and there. I know folks are going to want to rewatch that and get some more stuff out of that. You've been fantastic on YouTube, and you've helped so many people. I'm super excited about that. Everybody, if you want to check out his channel, you can go down to the pinned comment down below, because that'll take you right to the video where he's kind of just sharing his background and kind of his vision for the channel, and that'll get you to his channel and everything like that. I'll give you a good intro to what's kind of going on over there at Pinball Preparedness. Hey, stick around for the next interviews. We're dropping practical videos now here on this channel midweek, every time I can. We just dropped a video about how to purify water with just sunlight. And if you want a lot more practical tips, and if you have questions, make sure you head over to one of the live streams with Pinball. He's just a fountain of wisdom, and he surrounds himself with a lot of people who have a lot of answers to a lot of questions you may have as well. Well, until we meet you guys again, we will see you, and check out our channels, and keep prepping. Thanks so much for watching. Steve of Pinball, Steve and Pinball over at Poplar Prepper. Adios, everyone.